Oh, wonderful.
You know what I mean.
I apologise to Team Firelight and Starcade.
Well, it's just general stuff, isn't it? It's Nexus first. Oh, we are seeing a Forge Fast Expand, so that's a little bit different.
It seems to be becoming more. I went through puberty there. It seems to be becoming a bit more standard in Protoss versus Terran at the moment. It does work. People used to not do it because they didn't really see the point. Terran can just drop over it. They can fly away. But well, it's definitely working a lot more now, with less Terrans going for really early drop play, and even if they do, a lot of Protoss players have learned how to deal with that now.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can spend 150 minerals on that cannon instead of, you know, a Zealot, 2 Stalkers, and most of the time the Terran aren't really that aggressive, and the cannons do such a good job. So I can see why Protoss is a Forge Fast expanding, I can see why it's good, but I'd still prefer those units out, because the units are obviously a lot more versatile than the cannon.
Indeed, but if you're considering it from a Protoss's point of view, you're going to get that Forge anyway, and a cannon is cheaper than getting out a Stalker and a Zealot. Yeah,
very true, very true. We do see 2 Marines making their way across the map. They are going to be able to snipe this probe. Yes, the probe goes down, and now Piccolo taking full map control.
Absolutely, full map control. There are some Marines hidden in the Xel'Naga Tower. I'm having to like press insert to see them. They have moved out now, but they were like hidden on the Xel'Naga Tower behind the building. But this probe looks like it's going to run straight into them and take some fire and go down.
Yeah, it's definitely going to go down. Oh no, FlAffenzahn!
Micro!
Oh,
micro to freedom. It does manage to escape and will live to scout another day. Second photon cannon going down for FlAffenzahn to help defend against any Marine pressure. Which it does look like there'll be a tiny bit coming. These few Marines may pop in to see what they can do. But we will see. There is a bunker up at the front of Piccolo, so he may just be trying to macro up and defend at the moment.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Stim on the way. These 2 racks that we did see last time. And the armor upgrade coming directly from FlAffenzahn right now, so it looks like he is going to go into that Chargeler Archon composition yet again, and you know that composition works so very well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the early opportunity to get out that splash damage. The Archons are a lot easier to get out than those Colossus in large numbers. Like, you'll rarely see a Protoss player build more than 1 robotics facility. So, obviously, if you can get the Archons out that still do splash damage, not as much, obviously, but do the bonus damage to Bio when you know your opponent is going Bio, then it gives you that opportunity to get out the Colossus, get out the Storm.
Yeah, exactly. Twilight Council coming down. There it is, right behind the mineral line. So it is going to be for that fast +2, which is +1 almost done. Warp Gate almost done. He is making sentries. A little bit different. Usually you'd kind of skip sentries for Zealots, because you don't really need the sentry. Well, I suppose, yeah, you could definitely use the sentries to obviously force field trap them for the Zealots to do some damage, but I think that's a lot of gas right now.
Well, FlAffenzahn used them to great effect last game, so he may just be using them until he gets that critical mass of sentries, because if your opponent says Marines in now, then, and you only had Zealots, then eventually those Zealots are going to be kited and die. If you already have those sentries out, you can force field the entire army, and that single Zealot that you have will be able to get in there, and you'll still have sentries in the back shooting at them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely, I can see the plus side of using sentries, but it does slow down, obviously, that charge. It slows down the
upgrades.
The upgrades. Yeah, I mean, if you can spare the gas, and sentries are great.
Absolutely. It's sort of it's obviously pros and cons. Every build has pros and cons, but this is obviously the one that FlAffenzahn favours, having used it twice in a row now. That might just be to try and catch the opponent off guard. Just like, oh, it's a free game. He'll never do the same builds. But we will see. He has got near enough identical build. Charge is on the way. He's throwing down 4 more gateways to help out with this, and +2 armor is almost completely finished.
Yeah, exactly. And FlAffenzahn now taking a fairly quick third, but it is going to be scouted by Piccolo. 4 more gateways being added on for a total of 7, +2 almost done. But Piccolo looks like he is ready to move across this map to deny the third.
Absolutely, he's going to try and deny the third with this army that he does have. And as it does, FlAffenzahn has very few Zealots in this composition. He needs to be warping in more Zealots. to help defend against us, because there's more Marauders in this composition than there were last time. Warping in a couple more, and his gateways have just finished up, so he's going to get an extra 4 warp-ins before this army gets here. So he's going to be able to hold it as long as he gets good force fields. It's very similar to the road situation. However, it doesn't look like Piccolo is actually going in yet. It looks like he was moving out, but has chosen to turn around and deal with this forward pylon first. So that has bought FlAffenzahn quite a bit of time, but he's throwing down another forward pylon. He looks like he wants to go on the aggressive, but it's not going to happen, obviously, because Piccolo is moving out, and he's going to spot this forward pylon as well.
Yeah, he must have spotted it, but he just probably not paying attention. There we go, he has spotted it. FlAffenzahn warping in a few Zealots and Stalkers in the back of his base to prepare for those drops, which would be very, very good if the Protoss wasn't ready. +3 armor on the way, robotics facility almost finished, Templar Archives almost finished as well. Piccolo's skirting around the outside now. He's going to go for that third base, but if he's not careful, he could be trapped in there by Sentry force fields.
Absolutely. Getting out those High Templar, but doesn't have Storm yet, so those High Templar will probably be morphed into Archons or kept out to feed back those Medivacs. It looks like the latter will be the preferable option. Oh, and moving his army to help defend the third against a single Marine being lured out of position. But there we go. Piccolo moving to the third anyway, being deterred by the cannons, so it looks like we are going to see the engagement, but the advantage in numbers is definitely in favor of Piccolo. It looks like he's going to try and kill this composition here. Great force fields there by FlAffenzahn, but good pickup there by Piccolo, managing to pick up those Marines and keeping them alive. And this is exactly the problem against this kind of composition. The Zealots are slowly being kited and melted away, but here we go, moving in. Good Guardian Shield to help defend these sentries if anything wants to shoot at them. Zealots being kited, but in the meantime, these sentries are just killing all of the Medivacs right now, but now it is pretty much only sentries left. So this is proving very difficult for FlAffenzahn. He does have these High Templar out, and they do now have Storm. Great force fields, though, holding them back. And now the High Templar getting in position to try and get that Storm down, trying to persuade Mr. Piccolo's army to go in the front of the natural. But Mr. Piccolo not biting, going to avoid that like the plague. Is going to head back, regroup with a new chunk of his army before he goes in. Yeah,
definitely. And some great force fields there. Just buying FlAffenzahn enough time to get enough Zealots out to hold that back. Piccolo now regrouping with a massive army. He's going to be making his way back across, and without any AoE damage, I don't know if he can hold this, but he does have a couple of storms ready, so it is going to be definitely in favor, and Piccolo is not going to expect the storms.
Here we go. He does now see those High Templar, and he is going to try and avoid them as much as possible. Mr. Piccolo stimming in, trying to snipe them off. He is going after one that doesn't have enough energy to storm, and he's like splitting off his army, trying to send it forward in waves to try and pick this off. Great splits here. Obviously, if he A moves, this army's going to go forward. It's great against the Zealots too. But here we go. This is such a tense engagement. The army of FlAffenzahn is being split up. Decent storm there. The army does walk for it. Great storm there. Getting a huge chunk of that army, but there's very few Zealots left. They've already mostly been kited. Finally starting to transform some of those High Templar into Archons and warping in a lot more Zealots. And FlAffenzahn will be able to clear this up.
Yeah, I mean, just able to clear it up. Some amazing micro there by Piccolo, not allowing any sort of units to be hit by Storm that didn't really need to. But again, the army favor is slightly in Piccolo's favor right now. He needs some more Archons out. He needs to start getting those Colossus out a little bit quicker. One Colossus on the way. But because of these cannons, Piccolo is actually forced to engage at the third instead of being forced to kind of... You know, he could have, when those force fields were up, he could have run to the natural, but these cannons paying for themselves in number really right now, because I think that's what kept him in that game, to be honest.
Absolutely. Piccolo looking like he's moving back to the third again, or moving towards the fourth, as it looks like FlAffenzahn is about to attempt to take his force fourth after destroying those rocks. And here we go, Piccolo moving around, looking like he's going to attempt to snipe it off as it goes up. But the thing is, it's not going up yet. He was just destroying the rocks preemptively, and the Colossus is now out. Thermal Lance is not finished yet, but it will be soon, and the Colossus will see this going in. And here we go, FlAffenzahn army is all over the place, and there is a cannon to help this out. Thermal Lance will finish up very soon if Piccolo doesn't go in now. Stimming forward, attempting to get in. That's a big chunk of units. Good storm there. Manages to get a couple hits off, but Medivacs are with this composition and heal that army back up to full. That is very scary for FlAffenzahn. He got a fairly good storm there, and Piccolo just healed through it.
Yeah, Piccolo being forced to kind of realise that he can't engage Colossus right now. He doesn't have the right composition. He needs to add Vikings and Marauders, which he is doing in number 5 Marauders per production cycle, 2 Vikings. So he's looking very, very scary right now. But it looks like FlAffenzahn has had enough of waiting around. He is pushing across the map with this massive death ball. My god, is that a scary army.
Absolutely, there is what looks like was a drop in the at the bottom of the main base, but it doesn't look like it's going to come into play as Piccolo isn't paying attention, but neither is FlAffenzahn, walking his army on move command straight past Piccolo, taking so much damage. The Colossus, one of them goes down. That was a lot of damage. Really bad engagement there by FlAffenzahn, not paying attention, having to bring all his High Templar that were left to defend the base forward to get the storms down that he is going to need. Here we go, the Colossus is living in the background. It's getting shot really badly by that Viking. The Colossus is about to go down, trying to snipe those Vikings with those Blink Stalkers, and they do go down. Good shots there by FlAffenzahn, and this is much more even than the last game.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Piccolo not getting himself into a very horrible spot. We do see more Vikings being added. High Templars out of position.
To his High Templar didn't even storm. They all get sniped. That was such a waste.
That's an expensive loss there, and we do see this medevac full of units being watched by an observer very, very closely. So this drop is probably not going to be able to do anything. We do see a High Templar waiting for it as well, or we did. It does appear to have moved right now. Piccolo's army making its way across the map. FlAffenzahn taking a 4th, but the 4th isn't even coming to play if the game ends right now.
Absolutely, it looks like Piccolo is spreading out his units, doing a great job of avoiding those storms. Oh, and the Colossus walks straight into the Viking fire, but here comes the flank, managing to catch the units all separated, which is bad for the splash damage, but good for the engagement overall, as now FlAffenzahn is able to just kill off these units in sections, chasing bits away while others just die. There is a Marauder in the main base, sniping away at that pylon, but that will be taken down by all of these Zealots. And FlAffenzahn lived that attack very well, and now he has his 4th up. He's going to be able to macro up a lot better than the Terran player. And look at this, FlAffenzahn has taken the supply lead, and he's going to be able to keep it. Look at the amount of gateways he has in his main.
Yeah, I mean, FlAffenzahn really, really showing that this Protoss Death Ball, as I mentioned, is very, very hard to kill. He is going to be in a very good position here to engage, splitting up that army. Zealots tanking absolutely everything. Viking sniping Colossus, but there was only one. These Archons are doing so much damage. No storms yet, but he doesn't even need them.
Absolutely, Archon's doing a great job. As we said before, Zealots just tanking everything. They have the +3 armor, which just makes them almost invincible. Well, not invincible, but obviously really hard to kill. And we have the High Templar in the back, charging up. They do have storms on them now. Get ready to use them. It looks like FlAffenzahn is keeping them on a separate hotkey, hence why they seem to be getting left behind a lot. But these Zealots are doing the job more than well enough. Archons are chilling with this composition too, getting ready for some big engagements. Kiting these Zealots fairly well, but the Archons and the Stalkers are getting good shots off on this Bio army in the meantime. But really good micro there from Piccolo, trying to move forward. Archon goes down, so it is now just Stalkers versus Marines and Marauders. Good force field there. Blink micro, and he is going to be able to kill this easily. Archon now coming in from the back. Colossus coming to reinforce, and Zealots, and GG from Piccolo. Absolutely, and FlAffenzahn takes this first game.
Yeah, really, really exciting game there. A little bit closer than the first one, but it looks like FlAffenzahn still getting that very needed win. I'm thoroughly impressed by his play. I've not managed to see this guy before, so yeah, very, very impressed.
So am I. This was a lot closer than the last game he played against Piccolo, but he still managed to hold it off. He did a really good job of defending, and when it came time to attack, he attacked so well and just was able to kill pretty much everything.
Yeah, getting up to that very, very scary death ball once again. That Zealot, Archon, Sentry, Colossus, Storm. That is so tough to deal with.
Absolutely. So we're going to head to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, it will be game 2 between these two players. Firelight's FlAffenzahn and Starcade's Piccolo.
Hello guys, and welcome back to this next game. We are just about to jump into it. I'm very, very excited to see what both players can actually achieve and accomplish. Both players showing absolute top level skill right now. How do you feel about these two players so far then, Chris?
I'm feeling really good about these two players. Mr. Piccolo has been someone who's been around the UK scene for quite a while, Whereas FlAffenzahn appears to have come out of nowhere, but his play was sublime in the first match.
Yeah, definitely. Some great Protoss versus Terran, really. There's not much more you can say about two players playing some of the best StarCraft I've seen in a while, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have changed their colours around, so have you got your starboard?
Yeah, it's all good. I'm way ahead of the game this time.
Excellent. They are attempting to be sneaky. And both players still just advertising themselves to hell out on this stream.
Hey, if they've got sponsors, man, I would absolutely, I'd absolutely love for them to be doing this, because what are we about? We're about exposure for the UK scene, and if they want to advertise our websites, then they are more than welcome to.
Yep, sounds about right. So, we shall introduce the players.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Spawning in the top left-hand position of the MLG Antigua Shipyard as the Teal Protoss. Playing for Team Firelight, we have FlAffenzahn. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the MLG Antigua Shipyard, playing for Team Starcade as the Blue Terran, we have Piccolo.
And players very, very friendly with each other. Would you assume that they're friends? I mean, oh, sorry to interrupt myself there, but we do have a second proxy racks coming down on the left-hand side. It's a little bit far away, though. I think it could have been a lot closer.
Absolutely. I think he could have stuck it in the little gap next to the third base. If you have a look here, he could have put it in here somewhere, so he would have had much less distance to walk, and it's still unlikely to be scouted. But I guess if that's where he wants to put it, that's where he wants to put it. And FlAffenzahn has scouted out the main base, maybe wondering where those minerals have gone, if he counts the SCVs, etc.
Well,
but
it looks like a one-racks
expand,
CC. Yeah. The CC should be coming down very soon, and it does look like he is scouting that. But if that Marine gets that probe kill, then he's going to have a hard time figuring out what's going on.
Absolutely. The Marine is out, and he will get the scout on the probe, so he will get it and will try to kill it. That probe is now very low in health. It will probably not get back into the base without suffering a severe case of death.
No, and the SCV
there is now an SCV heading there, interrupting each other. We are so insane.
Go ahead, Chris. Would you like to explain what was about to happen?
Thank you very much. The SCV has made its way into the main, so it is doing a fairly normal scout-out job that it would at this supply. And now that it is here, we will see the Marines slowly get built, and eventually they will all be rallied up there. And that is when Piccolo will throw down a bunker, which will make it almost impossible for FlAffenzahn to kill, apart from the fact he is getting out this Stalker first before the Zealot. So the fact that there's no bunker down already is going to make it incredibly difficult for Piccolo to really get in here.
Talking about incredibly difficult, the Nexus is down, and look at this trail of SCVs.
Oh my god, is that all? That is all his SCVs. He's mining with one SCV and one mule right now. He is going to see this with this Stalker. He sees the SCVs now.
There's not enough time for a sentry.
He knows exactly what's going on. He doesn't have enough time for anything right now. He's just trying to get Warp Gate, throwing down another 2 more gateways to try and get some units out. But all he has is this Stalker, and that's had to run the hell away. He doesn't have anything to defend this. He's going to have to pull drones. He's producing another Stalker. He has the Chrono Boost, but he's not using it. And here we go. There goes the first bunker. And here we go. Move the SCVs. That's a lot of Marines. I can't see any way that FlAffenzahn is going to defend this. Stalker is coming in from the back to try and deal with this. Here we go. The probes are walled in by the bunkers. They're not getting out. They're going to have to engage these SCVs, being mineral tricked out to try and escape, and now trapping the Marines. The Marines are all going to go down.
Can he hold this?
I think he may hold this.
God.
The Stalkers, 2 more Marines coming in from the back, attempting to kill the Stalker. The second Stalker is out in the base and is being moved by SCVs, but it is a really great position. The bunker is up and there's nothing to go in it. There was 1 Marine still alive. 1 Marine coming in, and GG from FlAffenzahn.
Oh my god, for just a second there, it looked like he could hold it.
Oh my god. The SCVs held it. He killed all the Marines, but there was just so many SCVs out. He was just able to keep that attack alive long enough, keep everything occupied, that more Marines were able to get in, and dear god, that was close.
Yeah, that was very, very close. It looked almost for just a second there he could hold it.
All we saw was some scouting and a Nexus first going down for FlAffenzahn, so that is all you have missed. You are now up to date on the entire game.
Yeah, my scene switcher does not seem to want to work right now.
Doesn't matter so much at the moment. FlAffenzahn microing this probe around, and it does look like the barracks was rallied onto that probe, but isn't anymore because can't see it. Marine at the top of the ramp, and once again looking fairly standard, looking very similar to the last game, but there is now Forge down this time, so we will probably see a cannon going down to stop exactly that happening again.
Yeah, this Forge Fast Expand obviously coming down once again from FlAffenzahn. He's clearly very, very comfortable with this build. And then probably going to see that into the Zealot Archon composition that we've seen in game number 1, which was very, very strong for him.
Yeah, absolutely. That Zealot Archon definitely gave him the advantage when he did come to engage. He had that splash damage, and obviously the Zealots with the +2 armor when the first engagement came, he was able to hold that off really well. And both times on Metropolis, he went for the same build, and both times it worked out for him. Both times he came out on top. Yeah,
just it's such an odd build to see because you're used to kind of seeing it versus Zerg, but FlAffenzahn really showing that it can work versus Terran, and I want to see it go into a different composition just to see how that kind of works. You know, personal reasons, but you know, if Zealot Archon is what he chooses, then Zealot Archon is what he chooses.
Absolutely, it's definitely less used than the more standard Terran versus Terran build, which is obviously the Fast Colossus, but it definitely works, as FlAffenzahn did prove there. He pulled it off to great effect. And it does look like Piccolo is gaining his map control with these Marines. May attempt to push in here, but he is going to be met by a wall of cannons. FlAffenzahn being extremely cautious here. He does not want a repeat of last time.
No, well, there is a lot of Marines there that he's seen. He's seen one coming up the map and another 3 on the watchtower. So he is being very dubious. Managed to sneak a probe round now. Not seeing any more Marines, so he's probably going to feel a little bit safer. But my god, is that a lot of cannons and a lot of investment.
Yeah, he's cancelled one of them, but that's still 3 cannons. I mean, that is obviously going to defend anything that comes his way, but the question is anything coming his way? There is actually a lot of Marines out on the map, so this may be a fairly good call by him.
Yeah, but I think he is slightly forgetting that these rocks on the right-hand side can open up and allow the Terran into the base, completely bypassing those cannons.
Absolutely, it's interesting. He may just try to be defend against that because obviously as Protoss, if you see your opponent breaking down those rocks, you have warp in, you can produce those units instantly, and he is getting down those gateways, so he can do that. Look how late
this warp gate is.
Look at how late this Robo is.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of sacrifice you make, and I think this Forge Fast Expand is actually the wrong choice on this map, because if Piccolo now decides to swing around to the right, take out these destructible rocks, what can FlAffenzahn combat that with? He can make a Zealot.
A Zealot.
Or a Sentry.
He is building a Sentry, so he will be able to half all this off.
Looks like
something.
FlAffenzahn electing to help Piccolo out and destroy these rocks. And
well, FlAffenzahn obviously confident in his Zealot and single Sentry micro and is going to attempt to take his third himself. And we will see how this works out for him. The supply is fairly even at the moment, but FlAffenzahn's supply is mostly in probes, whereas Piccolo's is the majority in Marines. Piccolo may be kicking himself if he looks back at this game and realizes, I could have had him now.
Yeah, it's one of those things in like hindsight, everything's fine. But in the heat of the moment, it's very, very hard to notice subtle things like that. I mean, how many times have you seen in your games where you've got this amazing wall off at the front here and then someone just runs up the side of your ramp?
I've had that situation where it's just like, oh, I've got this amazing wall off, they're not getting in, they just drop over it.
Yeah, and they pick up in 12 medevacs and just drop their entire army into your main. But we are seeing a large amount of Marines now pushing across. The factory is going to see this warp prism. Yes.
Yeah, it will see it, and it is full of sentries, so this army will turn around, but if this warp prism also turning around, choosing to let it go home, but that is a bad move. If he continued, he would have held off Piccolo's attack. But obviously, hindsight is everything, and this Marine force is now going to get down, deny the third when it decides to go down. Here we go, shuffling its way forward, attempting to get some vision, get some sight. And as you said before, that is a lot of Marines. There's very little here to defend this. 4 sentries and, well, 5, 6 if you include the ones in the meadow, in the in the warp prism, but it doesn't matter when you only have 2 zealots, which isn't much DPS. If Piccolo notices, he does see now that there's so little to defend on this part of the ramp. He is just going to walk up here, and he's going to obliterate everything. Good force fields though, but there is a little gap. He's able to slip through. He's sneaking his way through, trying to get that robotic ability. The Immortal is out. And it's going to be able to... This Marauder is too fat, preventing the other units from getting through. The Marines could slip through, the Marauder not being able to fit through. The force fields are down though, the army is now in the base. Force fields going down, preventing the army from getting good surface area. And the cannons are hitting these medevacs a bit. The cannons have a really, really good range. Moving in range of the cannons now though, Zealots charging in. Sentries moving in as well, trying to deal the damage. The Zealots are just being obliterated though, and Piccolo is destroying everything. He's already taken out a pylon and he's just healing up with his medevacs, and another big marine force is moving its way across the map to join this, and he is able to kite these zealots all day and just basically obliterate the mineral count of FlAffenzahn, as he's having to spend it all on these zealots to try and deal with this, and Piccolo can just micro them back.
Yeah, exactly. FlAffenzahn was actually going for Colossus, but the robotics bay did go down. This Colossus could be helping so much right now, but this is a terrible position for FlAffenzahn to be in. Piccolo's army in a great concave, a great spread here, but
Piccolo is definitely winning this engagement, but if you have a look down at the natural expansion of Piccolo, there are zealots in it. And Piccolo hasn't noticed, he's still just rallying his units across the map, but the zealots are gutting his economy. If Piccolo can hold this, he's going to be so far ahead, but the question is if the cannons are going down, more units are being warped in behind this force to trap it. Zealots surrounding it, the Immortal is still on full shields, raining death from behind, and the majority of the Marine count is down, it is just Marauders, but more units just streaming across the map. The cannon is now down so they can come in from the front of the base, and is trying to warp in units. There is a Colossus being built on the high ground, pulling the probes, trying to kill this. The zealots have finally been cleared up in the natural expansion. The warp prism is now in the main base, getting ready to warp in to do some harassment. But here we go, the probes being pulled again, trying to get us around. But the majority of FlAffelzahn's army has been killed here.
Yeah, but if this Colossus makes it out and he does get a warp in, this could mean all the difference. But the Colossus being targeted down so very quick, only getting one shot off here, and now probes being forced to deny the rest of this army. Piccolo's army remains very strong, 40 supply ahead. If you look at the army supply here, 68 to 9. It's surprising that FlAffenzahn has held it off this long. Piccolo now pushing in for the kill move.
Absolutely focusing down that Immortal, which was really the only line of defense. The Immortal is now down. The force field went down, but it really only helped him against those zealots. He's just able to one-shot everything now. The last unit that can attack for that sentry goes down, and that is it. Asking how many barracks there were, well, everything he has gets killed off, and this will be GG for FlAffenzahn, and Mr. Piccolo will take this best of 3 series.
Yeah, definitely. FlAffenzahn actually managing to kill 24 workers with those zealots that he walked in.
How many racks? 4 with 3 on hotkey, so he wasn't even using all of his barracks in this situation. So really good engagement there, really good attack, and he has managed to come out on top.
Yeah, definitely, and we're just seeing the final remnants now. FlAffenzahn trying to spend as many minerals as possible. They can only warp in 4 times at a time. You see a massive train of probes now, but they are going to get melted very, very quickly. FlAffenzahn holding on for dear life, but it is looking like Piccolo is going to take this game.
Absolutely, FlAffenzahn not going down about to fight, but that is everything he has. There are 2 probes left in the gases of this base, and that is it. We're just literally just waiting for the GG from FlAffenzahn, and we will probably get it when this Nexus goes down. There it goes. There is 1,000 minerals somewhere. Where has that 1,000 minerals come from? And if there was a probe on the map, FlAffenzahn could potentially get back in this if he wasn't scouted. But there are now
the only
there are no
unit left
probes
alive
anymore.
for FlAffenzahn is 1 observer, and thankfully you do not need to kill that observer to win the game, or else that would be very, very awkward. And we are seeing FlAffenzahn now getting a little bit annoyed that, yeah, reading the game slightly wrong, assuming an all-in, but yeah, as a loss can be very frustrating for any level of player. So FlAffenzahn holding on with 1 supply right now. I don't think he can come back.
Absolutely. FlAffenzahn just staying in the game to talk this out with Piccolo. He has 3 buildings left, and Piccolo is staying here, not bothering to kill his buildings. FlAffenzahn definitely seems to be quite annoyed, not GGing, just waiting for his buildings to be killed. And I don't think we will see the GG out of FlAffenzahn. We will just see all his buildings get killed off. There's the last one, and there we go. No GG out of FlAffenzahn, unfortunately. And 1 supply out of no supply for FlAffenzahn at the end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he could have pulled it back, to be honest. I've got a very strong feeling that he couldn't have pulled that one back. But great games from both players anyway. FlAffenzahn really impressing with his play. Piccolo being the absolute master of bio in that game, I think. Absolutely.
FlAffenzahn, even though Mr. Piccolo won, gameplay-wise, I would say I definitely prefer the style of FlAffenzahn. He was able to defend those even the all-ins of the games that he lost. He was able to defend for so long with a much inferior force, and he played really great throughout all of these games. So just because he lost, definitely still, if you see FlAffenzahn, give him a congratulations. He played really, really well.
Yeah, and also obviously Piccolo being slightly more on the scene than FlAffenzahn. Piccolo taking 2-1 over him. Really, really great games. Glad to see both players competing at such a high level. Go check their teams out, guys. Starcade and Firelight. Am I correct in saying that?
That is Firelight, yes.
Yeah, teamfl.com or .net and starcade.org, I think. They
linked enough times in the board. Just rewind it a bit.
So yeah, guys, that has been episode number 3 of Fast Expand. I'm so glad that all of you guys are tuning in. Really appreciate everything. Our Twitters are on screen right now at SCButterMeUp, at EvilGuy13Gaming, at Fast Expand, at Nordrassil Radio, at Bainsy FE, who is a show's producer. He has been behind the scenes working very hard, making sure the show is running smoothly. So big thank you to him. Big thank you to everyone that has made this show what it is today. Thank you to Moomin also for coming on earlier. Seems like such a long time ago, but she was definitely on here. Chris, any last shout outs before we kind of announce what's going on next week and the end of the show, really?
Absolutely. I'm going to shout out the WCS finals. They will be in London from the 30th of June to the 1st of July, that weekend. So if you live in the London area or you can just afford to get down there, get yourself down there. More details will be revealed at some point this week or next week of where you can get your tickets. The tickets are free, and if you can't get one online, don't worry. You can get a load on the door. And also, head to team-gg.co.uk. We have 3 players qualified for the WCS finals. It's going to be insane. They will be playing with the likes of Bling, The Muslim, Randy. It will be amazing. Our players are Sam or GG Demon, Kish or GG Reno, and Dan or GG Fammer. So if you see them on the ladder, give them a good luck. They're going to have some incredibly difficult opponents, but I'm sure they will do well.
I'm sure they will, Chris. And once again, thank you for helping me with Fast Expand. Thank you for co-hosting with me. It would not be the same without you, buddy.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you invited me on.
Oh,
it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. And obviously, catch me and Chris. We do a lot. You can go over to Chris's YouTube, which is youtube.com/evilguy13gaming. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, where I believe you are my most recent guest on my new show.
Yeah, and my God, was that one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. So yeah, guys, go check out that. It's a lot of fun. It is a caster challenge where the casters get certain constraints and objectives to put on them while casting, and it's a lot of fun, guys. Go check it out, youtube.com/evilguy13gaming. And yeah, thank you very much for tuning into Fast Expand. Next week we are going to have a little bit of community interaction. So basically what you need to do is you need to send in 3 replays plus your Skype name, plus a little bit about what yourself and what you'd like to improve. If you are selected, then you'll come on the show and be coached by myself. It'll be a lot of fun, guys, so please submit your replays to fastexpand@nordrassilradio.com. That's fastexpand@nordrassilradio.com. So yeah, submit 3 replays, a little bit about yourself and your Skype name. Please have a working mic as well. That really is, well, it's necessary to kind of come on the show.
Or a really quick typer. We'll accept that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, thank you very much again for tuning in to Fast Expand. See you all next week, Wednesday, 8 PM, same time, same place. If you've liked what you see, please tweet everything. Please tell all your friends, tell your mum, tell your dog. If your dog owns a laptop, then even better. See you guys next week. Thank you very much.